Hey everyone, it's Libby from Maighstirtarot. I'd like to acknowledge the Worimi First Nations people, that's WORIMI, and welcome to you, your guides, my guides in the universal energies. A little bit late coming on today. Honestly, really struggling at the moment. The line has been absolutely crossed in the sand. Um, the US government is supposed to have three equal authority, what do you call them, branches of government that are supposed to be checks and balances to make sure that each one makes the other two, ensures the other two behave themselves and follow the Constitution. Well, the Constitution has well and truly been shredded. The shredded pieces have been thrown in the compost, and the compost has been scattered. Just, I don't know really where to go at the moment. Us light workers, we all knew it was going to be ghastly, and we've been saying it was going to be ghastly. However, the optimist in us, because we wouldn't be empaths if we weren't optimistic about humanity and optimistic about life and could see the good in most people. If we weren't optimistic that it wouldn't get as bad as what we were fearing, and sadly, the optimism is really taking a pounding. Watching this morning, fabulous Hawk's podcasts, Texas Paul and Susan Lynn. I would highly recommend all three of those if you get a chance to watch them, especially Susan Lynn. She has some amazing advice on what to do because we are down a path that is is has completely been unexplored by the world and by the US people at the moment. And what's happening in the US now has emboldened Israel and China. China's playing war games off Taiwan again. Israel has just said if the ceasefire and started bombing Gaza again with the massive loss of life. So what's basically happened is that you've got the executive branch has decided that they're going to be an autocratic dictatorship, basically one man, one rule, and no one is allowed to disagree with that one man, one rule. The legislative branch, which is Congress, because it is Republican controlled, has basically rolled over and shown their belly to the executive branch and said, do with me what you will. And the only branch holding the line is the judicial branch, and that's only because the continuation bill was passed. Otherwise, it'd be run out of funding or possibly even being defunded further. So at the moment, the only line holding is the judicial branch, but the executive branch has basically said, yeah, we're going to ignore you, tough bickies, we don't care. And the legislative branch is letting them do it, not holding them accountable. So basically, with these planes that went to El Salvador, carrying 200. Now, what happened is that Felon 45 and his cronies, because I doubt he actually comes up with these ideas and writes these bills, he just theoretically signs them off. Basically brought forward, there's a 1798 or 89, I can't quite remember, the Alien Enemies Bill that has only been invoked 3 times in the history of the United States, once in the early 1800s, then during World War I and during World War II, and this was the internment camps of Japanese, Italian and German citizens that just so horrified the US people as time went past. That's the bill that allowed that to happen, and basically it meant you could arrest and intern anybody without having to go through any proof, any due process, any sort of basically someone pointed the finger at you, and you were put in these internment camps as either someone of that origin, doesn't matter how many generations you'd been in the US, or if you had been accused of being a sympathiser. So, what's happened is Felon 45 has invoked this act, has also declared that he is the supreme legal authority. Again, he doesn't write this stuff. This is the ones behind the curtain that we've been talking about for, gosh, 12 months, 18 months, longer than that. He's just the fool out the front, the puppet out the front, while all the changes of scenery are happening behind the curtain. So what's happened is that in regards to these aeroplanes, so what's happened is that Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary, came out and said the planes were in the air, they were in international waters. The statement made by the judiciary bench by Judge Boasberg, because it wasn't written, is not a real order. Excuse me, yes, it is. It is, because it was said by the judge from the bench during the case. It was a judicial order. Anyhow, her claims were it wasn't a judicial order, so in other words, they're giving the middle finger to the judiciary system, and that the planes were already in the air and that they were in international waters. Now, apparently one of those planes hadn't even taken off, so it was still on US soil. The other two may have been in international waters, but I looked it up, and apparently when a plane is part of the territory they are registered in. These were United States planes flown by United States citizens, and they are part of the territory in which they are registered when they are in international waters. So these planes were still US territory. So anyhow, where do I go with this? I am just flabbergasted. So basically, the US, you are now in a autocratic dictatorship, and it really, really, I am so close to tears in regards to this, because people need, I don't know what to say. Susan Lynn has some great advice. Basically, so also what's happened apparently in Arkansas, Susan Lynn had it on her video, they're now pulling up truckers and making them undertake written and reading tests. Otherwise, they can be fined on the spot if they fail, and or arrested if they fail the tests. Now, as pointed out by Susan Lynn, now this white truckie driver who passed the test was absolutely shocked to see that there were other truck drivers who had been arrested, who were manacled on the side of the road. Now, as Susan Lynn pointed out, we don't know what tests these truck drivers have been given. If you have a shading of skin that might be closer to mocha rather than squeaky white, that's me in a tan, do you get a medical terminology test where you have to write down medical terminology? Do you get a legalese test that you have to read a swag of legal words that you trip over because they're not logical or natural for someone to read? Okay. I am, oh man. And as I split the deck, you would not believe I'm using the Runic Tarot. I know it's a dark deck. I will try and get it light for you. I'm just going to say the US as a representative republic is currently in total collapse. Roberts has come out and rebuked Trump and his cronies for threatening to impeach Judge Boasberg. Well, you brought this on. Anyhow, as I split the deck, the dictator, the my way or the highway dictatorship, autocratic dictatorship, the emperor. However, the other side is the Sun card. Full illumination, full exposure. Now, this symbol on here, looked it up because I wasn't sure what it was. I'm going, oh, it's not on my list. So I looked it up. And it is the symbol for it is time to rise and it is time to take action. Absolutely. And this symbol on the axle here, I don't know if you can see that, it's a sort of a lightning strike Z. It is the strength, reliability, and trustworthiness. But the strength, courage, strength. It is time to rise up and take action. Now, I'll keep mentioning Susan Lin because the video she did was so incredibly powerful. Please, when you are protesting, switch off your location on your phone if you can. Do not have your as a face recognition to unlock. Change it to a password, 4-digit key code or whatever. Have videos ready to record. Cover yourself so that you are not identifiable, and please stay in groups. As she said, if you are of color, if you're black, Hispanic, etc., stay at home. This is time for the white people to rise and stand up for all of you. Because I'm also going to point out, and this is the part that is really, really upsetting me, is that Rubio has gone down to El Salvador, Secretary of State Rubio, and has come to an agreement with the El Salvadorian government that El Salvador will take prisoners of any nationality, not necessarily undocumented in the United States, any nationality. US citizens. See you later. I just, and I am just absolutely, I just don't understand what line in the sand has to be crossed before these, because a lot of you are telling me that you've got family or workmates that are MAGAs, Trumpers, who are doubling down and saying, yes, isn't he brilliant? Yes, he's doing all that. And I literally do not understand what line in the sand has to be crossed for these people to wake up. Anyhow, that's enough ranting from me today. I think it's only going to be the one video because I'm going to cover actually I might do two because I want to have a look at a bit of gossip stuff which doesn't belong in this particular video. Right. And again, as I'm shuffling and splitting the deck, we've got it's the Nine of Pentacles, the white person sitting back on the couch with their money thinking that they're protected, but the wheel is turning. They first came for the intellects, but I wasn't an intellect, so I was safe. Then they came for the people of colour. I wasn't a person of colour, so therefore I was safe. And then they came for the media, the journalists. I wasn't a journalist, so therefore I was safe. And it just works down the list until you're the last person, and then you're not safe. So we need to really not get to that point, and I am seeing French Revolution style uprising. And I'm seriously French Revolution style uprising. The wheel, the high priestess, the secrets, the bison in the room being revealed can no longer be ignored. Okay, so show me what people need to know in regards to what is happening. It will end. It will end. I'm just going to say And I have been saying for a long time now, I just didn't think it would get this bad. That you've got US marshals being called by Doge to break into private organizations to break in. And when those private organizations call the police to say, hey, you know, we're not part of government, the police go, well, tough bickies. Like, because those in government, in the regime, I won't even call it government because they're not governing, in the regime that is there now, did not like what that private organisation was doing. So the law is not on your side at the moment. Please make sure you take some form of identification. Now, do you remember during COVID, we had to take ID with our address on it everywhere we went? Well, we did in Australia anyhow. So that during lockdowns, that we could prove that we were within 5 kilometres of our house if we were out exercising or something along those lines, because those were the rules. Take ID with you everywhere, some form of ID, whether it's your voting ID or your driver's license or whatever, even if you're just out walking the dog. Do not talk back to any official whatsoever. If you get pulled over because you're 2 kilometres over the speed limit, yes, sir, yes, officer, here's my details. Yes, officer, thank you for the fine, officer. Much appreciated, doing a good job. And then get home and go, it's 1930s Germany. Okay, what do people need to know? And I'm just going to tell you, it will be over soon. However, I keep getting told, and soon is a hard term because it's like, when, what day, what hour of what day? When the tipping point is reached, where those that are still on the fence, or still not taking any notice, or still supporting a Trumpster, maybe not a solid MAGA, because I keep seeing there'll be about 17% of people that will go to their graves. 17% of voters who will go to their graves still kissing the feet of felon 45. When enough of the other, do my math, 83%, wake up. Now we're at about, I'm going to say we're at about 60, 55, 60 at the moment, fully awake and going, what the hell's happening? That bit in the middle, it's got to get painful enough that that bit in the middle, we're at about 55, we need to get to 83, so my math is terrible, so we're still looking at about a 30% need to wake up and feel the pain. They need to wake up and feel the pain. Now, I wonder how many of those truck drivers that get pulled up were MAGA supporters, Republican voters, and they're going, hang on, what's happening here? They need to find themselves literally at the point of the sword before they realize that this is them, that it is them, not those other brown people over there. It is them. Okay, come on down. Let's have a look, throw some cards. Nearly 20 minutes in, and I'm just, okay. Three of Pentacles is the signifier here. The work that's going on behind the scenes, look at the expression on that person's face. They are manufacturing. They are creating. These aren't defenses. They are creating opportunities to suit them, to bring about the You hear something, it's just me, the fur babies, me and the fur babies, and the fur babies are fast asleep. Um, to bring about their agenda. They will manufacture, and I'm saying manufacture perhaps martial law. I feel if the courts stand up and absolutely smack down the Alien Enemies Act, that will induce the false flag um, incident. And I keep seeing New York subway. I'm just going to put it that way. If this video gets censored, so be it. To be able to bring in martial law or similar, they will manufacture the opportunity that they are wanting. I'm just going to say it. They will create it so that they can bring forward whatever it is that they are wanting to impose. Now, I do know what these symbols mean. This one here is the protection and the warding off evil. And this one here, if I glance up and down my little list, the back to front Y is the wound, the open wound and the ulcer. The wounds of the past that need to be confronted and healed. Now, the world has gotten to this situation because we have not healed the wounds of our past. And Australia's just as bad in regards to our First Nations people, in regards to our the immigrants that came over. I'm going to say the 10-pound poms that came over after World War II, followed by the Italians, followed by the Vietnamese, followed by the Chinese. We have not, currently we're talking about the Somalians and the Syrians and those from other war-torn areas. Australia has a horrible, horrible history with our when our immigrants first start arriving, before they become assimilated. Awful word, I know. Sounds very Borg-like. But it has been in the past a mutual assimilation in that the Australian history, we were meat and three boiled within an inch of their life veg nation of from the UK, except for the Irish. We didn't like the Irish. But then the Italians arrived. Oh, the smelly garlic Italians, all the rest of it. But man, oh man, it didn't take long before the Italian cuisine and the Italian coffee and the Italian way of life became very much part of the Australian way of life as well. And then the same with the Vietnamese, but treated absolutely ghastly. But within a generation, and I'm talking about within a decade or two, not even that, their food was embraced, their way of life has been embraced. They are now embraced as Australians. But I just want to point it out, the Australian history is absolutely not perfect. And it is the wounds of the past that are ulcerating and have not been properly cleansed, properly brought out into the light, into the air, and healed, that is causing what's going on at the moment. And that's why this is happening. Oh, I just looked at what was on the bottom, the world card. It's a worldwide problem, but B, this is a cycle that is in its death throes, that is coming to an end. And like any of us would know, going through puberty or even in menopause or whatever it is that you're going through, when you get a pimple and it comes to a head, and it's incredibly painful, but all of a sudden painful, 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 and then you get the head on the top. and you can actually release that pressure, and then the pimple goes away. God, that's a horrible analogy, but every human being would know what I'm talking about. We are at that pressure, painful stage, and then it will come to a head that can be removed, and it will be over. And then we have to clean the wound that is left, like clean it, put some tea tree oil on it or whatever works for you, and then we can start the rebuilding. But we are at this culmination, end of a cycle. I wake up every morning and check my phone. Please, please, please let there be breaking news that somebody fell off the twig, snuffed it, turned up their toes, had a dirt nap, whatever you like to call it. It is coming that this will end, but it has to get to that point where it can be expunged, explodes, however you like to put it. Okay, so at the moment, we're in this energy. I keep saying it is like childbirth. It is a new birthing. And anybody that has gone through childbirth knows it is extremely painful, and it is most painful in the moments before the birth. Whether you've got a natural birth or cesarean birth, it doesn't matter. The worst point is the moments before birth. And by the time the baby's checked over and cleaned up a little bit, and you have your first cuddle, and the hormones kick in, and it's like, it's over. This is the energy that we are in at the moment. At the foundation, you've got the energy that the situation is stewing in as the King of Pentacles, the oligarchs, the moneyed elites, so to speak, who are not necessarily as moneyed as they like to think. Fleon, the muskrat, is currently bribing his compatriots in Delaware government to write legislation to overrule the court ruling against him in regards to the 53 million, was it million, payment? Could have even been billion, I can't remember. Had a lot of noughts on the end of it. The payment that he lost the court case, payout from Tesla. If you are in Delaware, or even if you're not in Delaware, pretend you are, make up a postcode in Delaware and contact the local representatives and tell them where to shove that act, that legislation. Because he is bribing, allegedly, entertainment only, the legislators, that's supposed to be one of the checks and balances of government, to override the judicial system, which is supposed to be one of the checks and balances of government, to be able to rule in his favour, to get his grubby mitts on yet even more money. And if he's that desperate to get that money, it makes you wonder about how much money he actually has. And I don't think he has as much as what he likes to let people think he does. I think he's desperate. Just like Felon 45 was desperate, which is why he so frantically fought those court cases. In the past, the protections, and the symbol here, birth, fertility, growth, new beginnings, the protection of all that was precious is in the past. Because what's come in the background here, these dark clouds, wealth, energy, foresight. It also does mean abundance, fertility, and creation, but not feeling that. I'm feeling it's more about The protections have fallen. The US Constitution has collapsed. Not going to be, it has. Which means the US at the moment is in a constitutional crisis, whether those in the authority positions acknowledge it or not. The Constitution was shredded on the 21st of January. It does not exist at the moment. However, who is this figure? The Queen of Wands, the inspirational female who is bringing forward a powerful message. Powerful message. Is it Jasmine Crockett? Is it AOC? Who is it that's bringing this message forward? Or on the dark side of this card, is it Carolyn Levitt who's spouting these inflammatory comments? I don't have words for it. Symbol here, it's the time to rise and take action. It's also the mysteries, secrets, and occult abilities. So this is divine feminine. It is time to rise and take action. I'm feeling that this is a female figure who will be galvanizing. Now, I said AOC and Jasmine Crockett. I'm not actually drawn to either of those in regards to this figure. I don't know who this is. It might be female plural. Time to rise and take action with this message, this powerful inflammatory message. However, white females, we've got to protect our sisters, we've got to protect our brothers. Do not underestimate our power. This is about taking back power. The immediate future, the justice system. I think the justice system will stand. Felon 45 has thumbed his nose, given it the middle finger. I think it will stand. Judge Boasberg has absolutely laid into the DOJ. Was it the DOJ who's defending? Whoever, the Republican attorneys in regards to these 200 Venezuelans. Absolutely laid into them, given until tomorrow to provide the documentation that proves that these 200 men, including a 14-year-old boy, who was over in the US on asylum and was supposed to be having his case heard in the courts in regards to his asylum, was snatched. These are all people that were apparently they were already in the prison system or in the word I'm getting is confinement system, because I'm thinking children's prisons, courts, or whatever, or some sort of internment. They're already in the system, so they're very conveniently available. But Rubio and El Salvador have now signed an agreement that it can be anybody of any nationality. Now, they do say prisoners of any nationality, but if you don't have to go through the due process, somebody who is handcuffed on the side of the road because they couldn't read a medical terminology document in a smooth manner is considered a prisoner. But I think the justice system, I think it will hold And I think it's going to go up to the Supreme Court. But I keep getting, don't leave it to the justice system. People have to rise up. Externally, the United States has been betrayed by treasonous actors, on its knees, stabbed, just about to lose its head. Or is there somebody who will find themselves at the wrath of the justice system, who will be accused of being treasonous, who will be found guilty of being treasonous and will lose their head? I hope it's the latter, because this is going forward. Now the symbol down the bottom there, and this is why I'm thinking it might be the treasonous players in this, is the symbol at the bottom is about the dawn and a breakthrough and an awakening and an embarking on a new enterprise, a new beginning. The dawn, the breakthrough, the awakening. And I keep saying there has to be enough that will wake up for the tipping point to be reached. Internally, finding themselves penniless out in the streets, betrayed due to corruption, due to ethical, moral, and financial corruption, abandoned. There are more white Republican voters who are reliant on social welfare than any other sector in the United States. It is the state of Arkansas, one of the bottom, gosh, I would say probably 3. I was going to say 5, but I'm getting 3. One of the bottom 3 states in education, in wealth, in employment, in healthcare. Sarah Huckabee's state. Internally. Now, I don't say all this to scare you, just like Susan Lynn says she doesn't say this to scare you. It just means forewarned is forearmed. I had one of my beautiful viewers write to me this morning, emailed me this morning or overnight saying that she's in the process of packing up 30 years of her house to move in with her daughter. He's preempting. He's taking steps. I have another one who's got a family member that I believe, family member or friend, I can't remember, who has gone to Canada, and my guides told me to tell her 3-month holiday in Canada wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't know what, I think it's a her, not a him. This last one about Canada, because I don't know their identity. I only know their initials. I don't know what ethnicity they are. I don't know their origins. I don't know their financial situation. My guide said if you've got someone in Canada where you can go, it would not be a bad idea for you to actually consider a 3-month holiday in Canada. Depends on their situation. But forewarned is forearmed. It means you can take steps. And if that means you up sticks and move to a blue state for the semblance of protection, or you return to, if you're a dual citizen with the UK, you return to the UK, or you have a really, you're a widow with a really good widow friend, you decide to move in together and pool your resources. Forewarned is forearmed. Means you can take action and be in control of the decisions that will affect you. Because these treasonous actions that are going to bring through a breakthrough of awakening will be because of this desolate devastation. The hopes and fears. The fear is you've got that Empress sitting up the top of the table there, and they're all celebrating. That he won't be stopped. The outcome, the Knight of Cups. There is an offer that is going to come forward. It is up to us whether we take it or not. Now, this is the knight on the white horse bringing forward this offer. But the choice is ours whether we take it or not. He is bringing with him a tsunami. So you've got a tsunami to sweep away. But in the process of sweeping away, destruction is also caused. But it's also a cleansing. But it's up to us whether we take it or not. But the inspirational female bringing this powerful message, inflammatory message, the Knight of Cups with this offer coming forward. So this is the outcome, followed by judgment, collective awakening, a call to arms. But this is almost like the moment past, the inevitability, where we pick our way through the decimated battlefield to help those that need our help to start the process of cleaning and rebuilding. Because it is about a time of change. The only constant in life is change. And I'll say it again, I will swear till I'm black and blue that we are in this constricted timeline. Massively constricted. What would have been over 4 years has been constricted literally into 4 months. And that's why it feels so intense. That if Felon 45 and his cronies had done what they are doing over a period of 4 years, we would have been the frog in the pot as the pot was warming up, and we would have been, oh, no, they've done that. Okay, right. And we would have adjusted and we just would have gotten on with life. Because we're in this compressed timeline that is making it feel so horrific. It's this mess of waking up. It can't be ignored. We can't just put up with it and adjust and get on with life. Don't have time. Now, the reason why it's in this compressed timeline is because those that are wanting, now if you can hear squeaking, that's the chair squeaking as I moved. It's because those that are desperate for this collapse, because they think they're going to be rebuilding it. No, they're not. I hate to tell them. Desperate to have control, and it's all about wanting world dominance, not just the US dominance. We're talking world dominance here. They don't have time. Time is not on their side, and they know it. Felon 45 made the comment about with his golf tournament, oh, I just happened to have won again for the 10th year in a row. Oh dear, how sad there were no other contestants, but we'll ignore that. I just happened to do a professional golfer par on this golf course, and I won BS, but it'll probably be the last time. He knows. Now, that last sentence was really telling. When we are getting towards the end of our lives, we know, we get a feeling, and he knows he's getting to the end of his life. The Kremlin knows they can't win the war with Ukraine, and they are literally out on their asses, and they need it to stop now. Speaking of which, apparently there was I keep saying there's going to be some wild executive orders come out over the next week as Felon 45 gets his instructions from the Kremlin as what they need him to do. Um, the Kremlin is out on their ass. Now, they've come back and said, yes, 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 we'll have a ceasefire, but the ceasefire will be that Ukraine has to absolutely put down arms, give up their territory, and get no aid and no intelligence, blah, 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 and in exchange, we won't bomb their energy-producing facilities. We'll still bomb their hospitals and their bridges and their military depots and their civilians, but we won't bomb their energy. But Ukraine has to stop everything. There's no way Zelensky's going to sign that. Felon 45 is going to use it as an excuse to say that Ukraine are the bad guys. Because Russia, and when I say Russia, I don't mean the people of Russia, I mean the Kremlin and this action that they are taking, this invasion that they're undertaking, they are desperate. They have been using mules and donkeys. They have been doing a charge of the light brigade on the back of horses. They are getting troops from North Korea because they just don't have they don't have the troops. And the North Koreans wouldn't know how to hit a target if it was 2 foot in front of them. They know how to march. That's about it. They are so desperate. And because they are so desperate, and Netanyahu is as well, and that's why he started ordering the bombing of Gaza. He's been arguing with, I think, his intelligence minister and fired his intelligence minister because he's been dragged back in front of the courts in Israel in regards to his corruption. Now, this was a court case that was started before he decided to invade Gaza, and I would put money on Netanyahu being partially behind and knowing about the kidnapping that initially set this all off. And I said at the time, I read on it, what was it, 18 months ago? I read on it at the time, and those was what the cards said, that he knew and he was behind the planning of it to stay in power. And and now the Air Force are going over with their fighter jets, if you can hear that. This is why we are in this compressed time zone. And I'm looking at these two symbols here. They are the two Gibo symbols, the sacrifice and the relationships, two of them, one on top of the other. It brings about contracts and partnerships to heal. This collective awakening that will cause this wheel to turn. The magician, the manipulation of the cowards with the chicken on his shoulder, their poor choices, their smoke, their mirror, their delusion, their lies. Is Trump's lips moving? The lies, their planning, their strategizing about which path to take forward. Two of Pentacles, juggling about which path to take forward is going to be revealed. The bison in the room will no longer be able to be ignored. The here and now, we've got the World card. This cycle is coming to an end, and those that are greedy and power hungry are going to find themselves decimated due to the defiance of the people. And the devil and all those connected with the devil will find themselves investigated and fully exposed for who they are. And then we have this new beginning where everything that has gone before is gone. New legislation, new constitution, new rule of law is going to be come forward, led by the wise, led by the truth, led by perhaps the judiciary system, but those that are honest, because it's also honesty. New strategy. So out of this, we've got the ending, the defiance, the exposure and investigation of all those that brought this about being fully revealed, that will bring a new beginning and a new constitution, new legislation, new rule of law. The Ten of Wands, the ending of a cycle, but the seeds being planted for the new as we set out on this new journey that has been unexplored. It's not going back. It's not going back to what is. It's setting out on this new path. So I just want to emphasize that what is happening is not sustainable. It will pass. But in the meantime, I want you to look after yourself, do what you need to do to protect you, build your community connections, be aware of who and what are around you. If you're a blue dot in a red sea, find some other blue dots and then keep to yourselves pretty much. Keep your heads down. Keep your identity covered if you're out protesting. Video it to be able to send to the independent media outlets. I don't know how long we're going to be able to continue this on YouTube. Because the censors, I notice a lot of people are saying their comments are getting removed. I don't know how long the censors are going to let us keep getting the word out. And I'm talking the likes of Brian, Tyler Cohen and Hawke and Midas Touch and Democracy Now, etc. But a new beginning is dawning. It is, we say it constantly, it is coming. And when it does, it will be okay. But it is like birth. It is like a birth. It is going to be painful. It is going to be difficult. Says me who was in labour for 26 hours. Boy, oh boy. Because a certain somebody decided to come out upside down. This will end. But I am getting French Revolution type vibes where it is people, the judiciary system cannot do it alone. The people need to rise up, but it also needs to get to the point where we've got this tipping point where it is the masses that rise up, not just those that are already away, but those that have been sitting on the sidelines, those that were previous Trumpsters and MAGAs, but have gone holy. So just a couple of cards to finish for us, guys. Finish. What do we need? What do we need to know? We need to know. I'll zip through this next one because it's getting a really long video. So you wanted that one. Okay, thank you. Protect yourself. Sorry, I'll just get that light a bit better. Protect your family. Do what you need to do to stay safe. Because this, if you have a look, you've got the two dragonflies at the top there. This is a period of transformation. Care for your garden, your own garden. Now I'm talking metaphorical as well as physical garden. And the garden is your community, or it is your actual garden, but then people might walk past and compliment it and become part of your community. Tend to your garden, whether that's your book club, your knitting group, your volunteer work, your rescue pet work, whatever it is. Make sure that you look after yourself first, because we are in a period of transformation. There is a new start coming, and the challenge is the new start. It will be okay, but we need to have faith that the new start is coming, the new beginning. Here's my Harris card. The energy that we're stewing in. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Harris should be out on the road doing a Bernie Sanders, etc. I honestly don't feel it is safe for her. I feel if she was out even protected, that then vindictiveness of a certain felon, she would find herself arrested. Felon 45 has ordered the removal of the protection for, he tried to do it for Biden and he wasn't able to succeed. He's removed the protection by executive order, in other words, by royal decree, removed it from Biden's two children. Now, theoretically, they should be having protection for 6 months after Biden left office, even though they are adult children. And Felon 45's children got the same when he left office the first time round. They've had 2 months. It is not safe, but she is there. In the past, my Jack Smith card is overseas, International Criminal Court. He took the documents with him. I'm just going to tell you that here and now. He took the documents with him. It's also my Alex Whiting card. Crowning this reading, the burden of the message going forward, uphill slog, chaos, burdensome, difficult, struggling to hang on to the positivity of the message. Totally get it. In the background, you've got this moon. Is it an eclipsing moon or sun, or is it a crescent? We are in eclipse season at the moment. We've had the lunar eclipse. We'll have the solar eclipse, I believe, in a couple of weeks. The moon has been covered by these dark clouds. The truth has been covered by these dark clouds. But it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a heavy load. It's going to be chaotic. We're going to be tested as to whether we hang on to what we know and what we believe. And even me knowing how this is going to play out in the long run, timing is no such thing as timing in the other side. But it feels soon. And I know we keep saying soon, but every day that passes, that pimple is forming. we're gonna be tested, and even those of us that know that it will turn out, and that we have chosen to be alive here and now to be part of this rebuild. We are being tested. The immediate future, keeping a lid on the emotions, keeping a lid. If you go out and protest, make sure that you wear a mask of some sort, just a bandana around your nose. Cover any identifying features on your body. Wear a hat so your hair color is not identified. Stay in a group, but protest peacefully. I know the French set fire to a Tesla showroom. Wouldn't that be nice? But in the US, keep a lid on the emotion in regards to it. Loss, disappointment, heartbreak, despair. Absolutely. But look at the 2 cups still standing, and look at the tree here that is yet to be harvested, that is full of all that is fabulous. Don't concentrate on what is lost. Acknowledge it, but turn your attention to what you can do, what action you can take, what options you do have available to you. Don't dwell on the ones, the would have, should have, could have, the ones that are lost to you. This is why I've been saying for, a while now, make a list, no matter how outrageous, of what you can do. Because whether you believe you can or you can't, you are correct. So a list of what you can do, so that when the decision time comes, you go, right, that seemed really crazy 2 weeks ago, but I'm for it now. Externally, internally. This is again the 5 of Pentacles, same place. Out in the cold, abandoned, discarded, due to the moral, financial, and ethical corruption that is going on internally. I can't remember what was there. Oh, that was the 3 of Swords. Hopes and fears. Bringing forward that Ace of Wands. Some sort of big announcement being made, an action being taken, a plan with action. It's also my Margarute card. The Knight of Swords. Bringing forth this sword that will stop what is happening. They will be stopped, and the money will be shook out of them. Now, I keep getting that those that are involved, and I'm looking at you, Fleon and Bezos and whoever else is involved behind the scenes, that they will have assets seized. Assets seized, stripped, money being shook out of them. Because there is that Wheel of Fortune again. It was there last time. It's still here, that Wheel of Fortune. Courage, strength, empathy, compassion. And when it happens, it'll be like the Berlin Wall. It will feel like it is literally overnight. It will come unexpectedly out of left field. And then we have the Star of Hope and Healing, the rebuilding, the rebalancing, the recreating. I'm just looking at the cards that come up, follow next. You've got here the secret deals done in secret about the steel and the partnerships that were involved. They're going to reap what they have sown, but they're not going to reap it. Their basket will be empty. They will not be able to take advantage of what they did. We've got the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Wands, and we've got the manipulation being investigated. Oh, the cards just keep going. Information being brought forward about the Emerald King in regards to his dealings overseas, and we've got this female with the money trail, the Homeland Security, the nightmare situation this emperor is going to find himself in as the information is brought forward. They will be rushing for the door to dob on each other, and it's the end. I've been saying so in the past, the gift from the past, the devil, going to be revealed. This is what's on the bottom. And tower moment for those that had their snouts in the trough and were money grubbing. It is going to end. Sorry, this video is getting really, really long. I do apologize. Break it up if you need to. It is going to end, but the way it has to end is going to be painful. However, if you know the pain is going to come, you can have your Nurofen and your Demazin or whatever it is you take for have handy for your pain. If you are forewarned, then you can take steps. Hopefully, you will never need to enact. But if you do, you know exactly what you're going to do. It's like having your go bag if you live in a hurricane or a bushfire or something area. You've got your go bag and you've got plotted your paths of retreat or escape. You know what your supplies are. You know what, you have these plans. It's like the bushfire season of 2019, 2020. Was it that year or was it the year before? I can't remember. Um, Welcome to Blues Day. We had 3 escape routes planned. We knew exactly what we were going to do. We had the horses labelled. We knew that if the fire came from whatever direction, we could go that way, we could go that way, we could go that way. We would leave all the gates open for the horses to flee, because I wouldn't want to be trying to float frightened horses in a situation like that. We had the car packed multiple times. If you have a plan or multiple plans of what you can do, then you know what you can do. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. This is way too long. I was going to have a look at Melania in Switzerland. I'm just going to mention it at the very end because I really can't be bothered because it's just so petty given what's happening. I had read last year, long time last year, 12 months or so ago now, that Melania was intending to divorce Felon 45 when he lost the election. Surprise, surprise, he didn't lose. Well, he did, but it was stolen. I had been picking up for ages that she was going to go to Switzerland and she was going to take Baron with her. Last week or so, she's been seen in Switzerland. That's still on the cards, that she's going to move there. And I really couldn't be fagged about her. So, hope she goes. See you later. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Okay, that's all I'm going to do today. I do apologise. It was such a doomy, gloomy video. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I've done videos on most other. I do feel that the Supreme Court will actually stand up to Felon 45, whether he takes any notice or not. But if the Supreme Court says big no, and he defies that, I think then the military will be enabled. Those that are claiming that they are US Marshals when they break into these buildings, I really feel are Felon's bodyguards, his thugs that he had sworn into the US Marshal. capacity so that they could carry weapons on federal grounds. I feel that they weren't actual marshals. I think they were felons, thugs that had been sworn in. So absolutely crazy times. Please, first and foremost, look after yourself. Seek out the community that you can trust. And as a lot of readers are saying, when someone shows you who they are, so if they've got a Felon 45 sticker on the back of their ute, it doesn't matter how hippie and liberal and easygoing they look, take them for their word that they are a Felon 45 supporter, and mind your P's and Q's around them. Okay, actually I could sit here all afternoon and chat with you, but I'm going to let you go. I have some work to do, so please take care. Next week, I won't be on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because my daughter will be here from interstate with my granddaughter. Unless something really desperate happens, I'm almost feeling that it's going to be over by the end of next week. We'll see how it goes. Okay, love to you all. Take care. Please, seriously, take care. Look after yourselves. Catch you later.